I'm super excited to introduce my guest. He's a veteran actor, a member of the Actors Studio, a two-time Emmy Award winner. He's best known for his portrayal of Sonny Corinthos on General Hospital, which he's been a part of for over 30 years. Some of his film credits include Joy, Nightmare Cinema, The Ghost and the Whale, just to name a few. He even played John Gotti in Victoria Gotti's film, My Father's Daughter. He's an advocate for mental health awareness, having shared his own bipolar disorder publicly on Oprah Winfrey. I want to welcome the extremely talented Maurice Benard to the podcast. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So first, I want to thank you. You know, I'm working on the show right now with you on General Hospital, and I ran into you in the hallway and I said, you know, bro, I'd love to have you on my podcast. And you said yes. So thank you for jumping on board. I know you're a busy man. I know how busy they keep you on that show.
Well, yeah, lately it's been very busy. But, you know, I saw you on the TV, man. You were good, bro.
Oh, thank you, brother.
I saw you in a scene, a couple scenes. You were very good.
Yeah, I'm having fun. It's, you know, it's a fun show. It's been challenging, and we'll go to that in a few minutes. But I want to start with you. You know, I created this podcast to inspire young artists to follow their dreams. Like, you know, if a kid like me can come out to Hollywood at 18 with $200 in my pocket, a one-way ticket, not knowing a soul out here, and making the dream a reality, then why can't the listener out there? You know, if a guy like you can, you know, have a dream to become an actor and be, you know, I mean, I don't know anybody who's been on television playing a character for as many years as you. I think you might have friggin' broken a record there with Sonny Corinthos. But you know, you're nominated right now. You're nominated for an Emmy Award, right?
Yeah, my fourth.
Yeah, so you're fourth in the Emmy Award. I mean, just you made the dream a reality. So I want to know, like, you know, when did you know you wanted to be an actor?
Well, when I first started acting, I got into modeling, and that was horrific for me because I was short, and everybody was taller, even the women. So. You know, I thought I was good looking enough, but it doesn't matter. If you're short, it doesn't work. And it's very specific. And from there, I got into acting, but only because I didn't succeed as a model. I think if I would have succeeded as a model, I wouldn't have been an actor. So I got into acting, and then acting seemed to be, even though I wasn't good in the beginning, seemed to be in my blood to want to be great. And just kept pursuing it. And I knew that I was in acting class all the time, wanted to be just, you know, the better and better and better. And that's how it started.
So where'd you study? Just out of curiosity.
I studied in San Francisco at the Drama Studio of London. I studied there. I studied privately with people. Anne Brebner. What can I forget the name of this? It was an acting school. It was great. All in San Francisco. And then what happened is somebody came, but you know, a lot of stuff happened when I got into acting. Then had a nervous breakdown. Was in a mental institution. A lot of stuff. But from San Francisco, I got all my children.
So that was your first start, the first show?
Yeah.
So that's how you got your SAG and back then it was after, right?
Yeah, that's how it all began.
So how old were you?
23 or 24. So
you got kind of bit by the acting bug right after modeling, and you studied your craft for a while, right? But you were still in San Francisco?
Yeah, I studied, you know, that's all I did is study, but I didn't study for maybe about a year. And then I had a nervous breakdown and I was in a mental institution. When I escaped from the mental institution, I thought it was done. I thought I was done. But by the grace of God, I kept going, acting, and it worked out, man.
Yeah, it sure has. So can we talk about that a little bit, about the breakdown?
Yeah.
And, you know, so, you know, you've been very public about your battles with bipolar disorder. At that time when you were young, did you know what was going on with you? Were you diagnosed with bipolar? So this was
I just talked about this. Where did I think on Twitter. You know, I was put in a mental institution, and I didn't know what was wrong with me for over a month. They didn't know at that time. Nobody knew what manic depression was, even though Jimi Hendrix sang a song about it. So here I was, tied down to a bed, my wrists, my ankles, my waist in a room that they called seclusion room. When you're a bad boy, they throw you in there. You don't take your pills or whatever. And I kept saying, what do I have? What is wrong with me? It's not drugs, not alcohol. And they didn't know.
So for you as a young actor, I mean, this must have been some scary shit for you to be strapped down in a room and not knowing what's going on with you. I mean, how did you work your way through that?
It was absolutely terrifying, especially for my mom and dad, my dad would walk into the room and he'd be, have tears in his eyes, not knowing what is going on with his son who's strapped down to a bed. And I remember a story that I had. All I want to do is get out of the bed, try to take the straps off or whatever. And there was a big latch on the wall, and it was metal. And I finally get to it, and I lay back on my bed, and I had thoughts of doing myself in on my wrist. And then I started to pray. And when I started to pray, I said, God, help me. I took the latch, broke it in half, made it into a cross, and put it by my bed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your faith has carried you.
All the way. All the way.
That's beautiful.
No, buddy. No.
So now when you got out of the hospital, I mean, did you start auditioning? Did you get an agent? I mean, how did you, what were your steps?
When I got out of the hospital, I had 8 months of depression that was horrific. And then it's a story. I entered a contest before I got sick called The Most Watchable Man in San Francisco. It's like a Miss America for men, and I won. Then I got sick. And then after I got out of the hospital, about 8 months later, they had The Most Watchable Man in America. And I entered and I won. And my dad he was drinking, he was yelling, going crazy, like I just won an Oscar. And after that, I started feeling good again, which is always false feeling good. And I stopped taking my medication, and I had another breakdown, all God related, like 6 months later. And then got through that one. Then about 8 months later, I got all my children.
So you've been battling this pretty much your whole life.
Oh yeah, man. It's well, I haven't been, okay. I've had 3 nervous breakdowns, what you call them manic episodes. The third one was when I started General Hospital. I hadn't been taking my medication for about 2 years. So when I started General Hospital, 3 weeks into the gig, I had a breakdown, my third. I threatened to kill my wife, threatened to kill her nieces. It was not a good time. She was going to call the cops, and if she had called the cops, it'd have been done for me, I think. So that was the third one. And then, but since I've been on my medication, this is what people have to know. I haven't had a breakdown in over 30 years. I've been free. The thing that kills me now, I've had depression, is anxiety. That's what kills me now. But since the pandemic, which was a really hard time for me, I've been great, man, for over 2 years.
Well, can we talk about that for a little bit? You know, anxiety, you know, it's funny because I came working on the show recently. I was dealing, you know, I came on, I have an acting school here in Manhattan Beach, and I opened it up 10 years ago, and I told my agent, you know, a long time ago, don't bother me. You know, I got my hands full here, man. I got a full slate. I don't have time to audition. I don't have just don't bother me. But, you know, every once in a while he'll reach out to me and say, hey, how about this? So, you know, he reached out to me, I think it was like January of this year. I wrote down my goals for the year, right? And I said, one of them was to get back in front of the camera. And then literally like a couple of weeks go by and my agent calls me up and he says, hey, there's a role on General Hospital. And I was like, nah, you know, been there, done that. You know, I mean, I was on the show 20 years ago when, you know, they thought you were dead, and I was coming. I played Sammy Tagliati coming over to Port Charles to try to take over your territory, and then I get whacked by Carly. I mean, you know,
right.
But you know, I've been there, done that. So I really pretty much was not interested. But he said, you know, it's like, you know, the same like it's 3 months. You should do it. Blah 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 blah. So I said, you know what the fuck? Let me do it. Right? Let me just do it. Right? But then I get on to the show, and you know, it's like a moving train over there. For people who don't understand what I mean, I got to say, you guys are some of the most talented actors, the actors that work on that show, because people don't understand the pressure cooker that you're in and the amount of pages and scripts that you have to shoot and produce. And, you know, it's like, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, and it's a friggin' moving train. So for an actor like me that hasn't been in front of the camera for a long time, years, you know, 8 years, it was like, okay, now you got to get thrown onto the train, and you don't want to stall the train. I mean, I remember the first day I got there, the stage manager pretty much warned me. He said, you better be prepared because, you know, if you don't know your lines or whatever, you're out of here. So I mean, it was like, it wasn't the warmest welcome coming onto the show, right? And then, you know, the other actors, you know, they still have the COVID protocol. So everybody's in their mask, and, you know, it wasn't warm and fuzzy, you know, it felt very cold, and you're in your little cubicle, you know, your little jail cell, you know, and I got to tell you, no offense, but some of those dressing rooms in that place, you know, they're kind of scary, you know, and you're sitting in there and you really can't, like, you know, kind of mingle, you know, you got your mask on, you know, it's like very, you know, it's just cold. And then you hear, you know, okay, we want you up, you know, a voice from the sky saying, okay, on stage, we need you for a scene. You get up there and it's like, there's no rehearsals. And really, I mean, it's like, it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, go. And, you know, that could give you some anxiety, you know? So I know I was feeling like the first few days there, I was feeling anxiety, man. I'd be backstage and I feel my heart be pounding. My mouth was dry, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I've been doing this for years, man. What's going on with me right now? Like, I was feeling this thing, and I actually knocked on your dressing room door and I said, hey, man, I need to talk to you for a second because I know you've dealt with it. And I asked you some advice, and, you know, I was like, this is weird, you know? So can we talk about that? You know, dealing with anxiety. I mean, especially being on a high profile show, so being a star of this show. I mean, I came on, you know, I got a few lines here and there, but you would get pages and pages of material.
Yeah, it's anxiety. You know, it's funny, man. I just went to, and I have to talk about this, even though, you know, they should be sponsoring me, but they kind of are, but not enough. I went to New York to do The View, Tamron Hall, Nightline, a bunch of shows, right? Just about 3 weeks ago. And it was the first time that I flew. I've gotten off 2 planes. Literally, open the doors. I'm out. No, we can't. Open the doors. So, but I've always flown with my wife. And this is the first time that I flew without my wife. So I get on it was first class, big and the whole thing. I get on and once I sat, I call it Freddy Krueger came. And it was bad. It was as bad as any time I've gotten off the plane. And my mind was telling me, get off the freaking plane, get off the freaking plane. Panic attack. You don't have your wife, get off. So I try to grab what I tell people to do, distract your mind, grab something, music, whatever you got to do, get out of that. Nothing was really helping. There's this thing called Comigo, Calmigo, that I had my wife get me. Try it out. I've never tried it out. So I'm in this panic. I grab it. It's like an inhaler for asthma. And you breathe, there's a light, you breathe. Billy, gone.
Really? Wow.
I'm talking like gone. That's never, I've had so much anxiety, I can't tell you. Usually when your anxiety gets better, it slowly gets better, it gets a little better. No, done. From dark to light. I started crying on the plane, like, because I couldn't believe that I did not have that feeling. It was like, wow.
That's amazing.
So if you think about, if you ever want something that worked for me, I don't know if it's going to work for everybody, but if it worked for me, because usually nothing works in that moment. You have things to work eventually, right? But it worked. So now I can get on a plane and know that that's my backup.
Do you still, to this day, I mean, you've been doing the soap for how many years now?
Over 30.
30 years. So do you still deal with, nerves and anxiety when you have to, perform?
Yeah, because I've had look, listen, man, during the pandemic, I was ready to, had visions every day, every morning, putting a rope around a tree. That was me for 4 months. I'm not joking.
Was it because you
It was
weren't?
a panic, it was anxiety. I was told that I wasn't going to be able to promote my book. I was told the shows shut down. It's the end of the world. My mom and dad moved out all at once, hit me. I felt a rush. And that night I was shaking like a leaf. Like that's never happened to me. Like I couldn't stop shaking. And from the next 4 months, I was telling myself, I can't go on like this. So I didn't go to work at that time, but I did go to work right after that, which was the kind of tail end, but still not 100%. And I ended up winning 2 Emmys after that.
Well,
So you can go through, listen, man, what I tell people is when we're in this, I hate to say it, state of mind, where you feel you can't go on, the reality is, like my wife says, honey, you've said you can't go on 100 times, you've gone on.
Yeah, it's a great reminder.
Yeah. But I have acted with anxiety. I have acted, look, some days are better than other days. Like some days I'm a little more nervous than I would like to be. Some days I feel like I'm King Kong. It's just kind of natural.
And do you have any techniques that you use, breathing or some other techniques that you use to help you deal with that?
Yeah, I have a breathing that I think I told you, the breathe in 4, hold it in 7, let it out 8 seconds, 4, 7, 8. That's kind of been really good for me. A lot of it is where your thoughts are at, and don't let those negative thoughts come into your mind.
Yeah, you got to guard the gates. You really do.
Yeah.
I mean, what helped me was, when I was backstage and I was getting into my head, all it is noise. It's fear. It's like, oh my gosh, what are they going to think? Who people, blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of noise, that's just creeping in. And I had to remind myself that, it's about play. It's like, I had to remind myself of the little boy who wanted to be an actor that, just jump around and, sing Peter Pan, who are you, Peter Pan? I was playing around, that little kid, that little boy. I had to bring myself, because all it is that little voice, which I call him Little Billy. Little Billy had a rough life. He's had, a lot of abuse, a lot of bad shit happened to him. So he's the one who wants to creep up in there and tell me to fear or do, the noise. And I literally have to pull him out of the driver's seat and go, look, I love you, Little Billy, but you can't drive, the bus of my life, the God within me, the light within me, that's who's driving, right? And to get into play and know that it's not me, right? It's the character. It's Watkins.
Yes.
And stay in play with Watkins. And then it kind of, that little voice goes away, because then it's not me anymore.
Yeah.
It's the character. To be able to drop into the character has helped me.
That does help. I played John Gotti and in a Lifetime thing that Victoria Gotti wrote. And, the executive producer hated my guts. And that has never happened to me. And I knew she did. And then I go, it was confirmed she did. And because she wanted me to play John Gotti like Sopranos. And I didn't see it that way. And I only had 2 days to prepare.
What? 2 days?
Saturday they called. You got the role. You're flying Monday.
That's crazy.
So I remember the first day, they're all there, the executives, Victoria, everybody, the director. And in the rehearsal, on my side of it, no, their side, their close-ups and all that, I sucked. I couldn't get it. And you talk about anxiety, Billy. I'm like, fuck. Thank God that they went to lunch. And I went down. My wife got me through it. Like she always, I said, honey, get me on a plane. Get me out of here. I don't want to do this. Get me out of here. She goes, honey, just run it. So it started getting better. And then I talked to Victoria Gotti, and she says, what's going on? I said, Victoria, that producer don't like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But she said, what does she want? She said, she wants me to play like Sopranos. She goes, no, my father did not like the Sopranos. You playing like Michael Corleone in The Godfather. So I went, oh. So, but let me tell you, Billy, that was cool. But every day I had to deal with this producer. So you know what I did? I said, okay, I'm not going to be John Gotti because I don't have the time to prepare. I would have gained weight. I would have, heard his voice more, whatever. So I'll just be somebody else. So I used the rage and pain that this producer was giving me to become this character. And sure enough, man, every time I'd see her, I'd look at her, she'd look away. She felt that energy. So I just stayed in this kind of thing, finished the job, very successful, great ratings, everything worked, blah, 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 blah. So, but it was very difficult to deal with that because I've never experienced someone not liking me, and it was not good.
Yeah, well, I saw it and I thought you were awesome in it.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
hey, great work. I mean, you're fucking talented. Excuse my friend. You're a talented actor, man. I mean, I got to tell you. I mean, I've seen with some of your work, the stuff that you've done is amazing, and I love you take your truth, what's going on, and give it to the character. I mean, I really love what you've done with Sonny Corinthos. Yeah. I mean, a lot of your truth is being poured into this character, right?
All my truth being poured in, and the reality is because Sonny's bipolar, it's been incredible. Yeah,
Whose idea was that?
not mine, not
Okay.
mine. It was the writers, but I said I okayed it. But it's been fantastic for acting, but not good for my mental health.
Got it.
Yeah.
You're a method actor.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. No, it's tough. I know. I'm
I
a
mean, I
method
think
actor too.
now you have to understand, Billy, when you did the show before, we had more time and there was more takes, but the difference is each scene in the past 10, 15 years ago was like 6, 7 pages. Now we only do 2, 3 little pages. So it suits me for my health now better. But back then it was just richer and deeper. But it was hard, man, because I was always tired, right? Because I worked more and the dialogue was more and the pages were more. So it's give and take. But I think I've learned now at 60 years old to not take it so seriously.
That's a great advice.
Yeah.
Don't take it so seriously,
No.
because I mean, I know, as a young actor, I know me too. I mean, so serious about everything was serious, way too intense. And when you can let go of that and play a little more and have more fun with it,
Yeah.
not be so stressed out, and
Yeah.
that's where the magic happens, because if you free up your instrument.
But see, something that I've been talking about a lot on my show, State of Mind, is, and this has been the biggest deal for me that I've learned, I think, my whole life. I grew up, I think there's a correlation between caring what people think and mental illness. I've cared way too much what people think, plus my ego. So when you got an ego and you care a lot what people think, oh, it's deadly. You can never be comfortable. Actually, that was kind of cool. It just came out. You can never be comfortable when you have both of those. So what has happened to me since the pandemic is I've chipped away at both. And let me tell you something. When you don't care what people think, you fly. You fly in your life and in your acting. It's so amazing to me. But the way you do, you got to figure out how to do it. It's a lot of, we already talked about it. But you have to find, I used to think that by getting things made me happy, right? When I win an Emmy, New York Times bestseller in my book, oh man. But that's false happiness, because then it goes away and you're back to the ugliness. When you find peace within, you don't need anything.
Yeah.
I'm just happy right now with you. Boom. Happy as hell.
Well, that's the beauty of it.
I don't feel anything, right? It's good. We're having a great conversation. That's the beauty, but that's not the way I was, man.
Well, no, I hear you. I mean, I had to battle my ego, I mean, like, I got a school, man, and, I opened the school 10 years ago, and I was at the worst place of my life when I got a calling to open up the school. My wife was, we had a miscarriage. We lost a baby. My wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. I lost my 11-year-old niece to brain cancer. I lost my stepfather to prostate cancer. My dog got hit by a car and died. I tore my rotator cuff. I mean, this happened in like 1 year period. But I was knocked down so bad, and I was battling with depression, and I was dealing with all this stuff. I couldn't work because I was in a sling. It was like I felt like Jake LaMotta getting pummeled on the ropes. Getting pummeled. And then I was in church, and I was on my knees, and I was, I got a little voice saying, you need to open up. I heard the priest say something about time, talent, treasure. How are you sharing your time, your talent, and your treasure? And I went, I'm not. it's been about me. It's been about ego, me. And I got a calling, and it was like, you got to open up an acting school. And my ego was like, what? No
Yeah.
way. You're going to open up an acting school? You know, the voice was like, you know who opens up an acting school? Actors that never made it and are out of work actors. My ego was telling me all this noise, right? But I had to battle that voice and say, no, I want to be of service. I want to be able to make a difference. I wish there was somebody like me when I came out to Hollywood that could have helped me, you know, pointed me in
Yeah.
the direction. You know, I've been doing this shit for a long time, man. I know where the potholes are, man. I know, you know, don't go down that road, because that road, you're going to get in trouble down there. So, you know, it's about being the guide, and it's truly been a blessing, you know, to get let go of the ego, to let go of what other people are going to think of me. Because I used to worry about that all the time. What are they going to think? What are they going to think? What are they, well, you know what? Who gives a what they think? You know, you do you. You got one life, right?
Yeah.
And live it, and live it, and be in the moment, and be present, and enjoy the most important things. Is what you have is you have a beautiful wife, you have beautiful children, you have a beautiful life. That's what it's important.
Yeah.
All that other stuff doesn't make you happy. You know, I used to think all that material stuff makes me happy. I mean, I was in New York producing a film in 2000. You know, I was a producer. I had the loft and Soho, blah blah blah, the everything you could possibly imagine. I was a star. You know, I had the money. You know, the whole thing. I had this big ass loft, and I was literally looking out my window, going, I felt like jumping out the fucking window, because I was in this big ass loft and I was lonely.
There you go.
You know, I was by myself. You know, I let go of a girl that I was dating because I had blinders on about success in Hollywood and all this stuff. You know, luckily for me, 2 years later, when I came back from New York, she still loved me, and we got back together, and she's the mother of my son. And I have the life, and I have a beautiful wife and a beautiful son. But what I really got was all of that chasing that stuff does not make you happy.
No.
I used to think this career as an actor was going to make me happy. It was going to fill a hole that I had. You know, I needed to be loved, man. I didn't have that. So I thought, you know, when I was a little boy, I got a little acting or whatever, and I got a little pat on my back. I would do a little Elvis Presley routine, and people would give me a slice of fucking bologna. You know what I mean? Whatever it was like, that was like, I got a little love, man. You know, I got a little something for my entertaining, and that's how I felt love. So that I chased that. I chased it in the streets, you know, I chased it, and, you know, my whole life, but I thought acting would make me feel loved. But, you know, then I had the fame, and I had the TV show and stuff, and I was like, is this it? Is this it?
Yeah. And the sooner you figure that out, the better.
Yeah. I mean, that's why if you're going to get into this business and you got to do it because you're passionate about it. You love this, you love the craft, and it's really, you know, your heart's into it. You can't do it to be rich and famous, man. You got to do it because you love it.
Well, for me, I did want to be the greatest actor, but the ego then said, that's not enough. Now you want to win Emmys. Now you want to write a book. Which is nothing wrong with that, as long as your head's in the right place. And, you know, so now I don't really care about much, because I found some happiness inside of me, and I'm good, and I'm at peace. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
So if you could give some advice, right, to somebody dealing with, you know, what you're dealing with, bipolar, what would that be?
Figure it out ahead. Find out you're going to have triggers, and you're going to know that something's off. Get help right away. Now, my advice is the way you don't get anxiety or a manic episode or depression is you prevent it from happening. So you do all the right things that you need to do: meditate, yoga, eat right, whatever it is, take medication, so it doesn't happen. I think with me, what has happened in the past is I thought I was doing the right things, also therapy and all that, but I wasn't, and then it would hit me. So it's my fault. But if you do the right things, like right now, it's been 2.5 years since the pandemic that I've been free of everything, pretty much. Why? Because I'm just doing it the way it's supposed to be done. And if there's a trigger, for instance, if they say to me, do you want to do this movie while you're doing GH, while you're doing State of Mind, while you're doing this, while you're doing that? And I don't think I should, I won't do it. Whereas before I couldn't say no. That trigger. Because the ego, right, Billy? The ego says, how can you turn it down? You can't turn it down. Yeah, I can. Because the health is more important. My health is more important.
Can we talk about State of Mind, your podcast?
Yeah. State of Mind started one night because I had an anxiety attack at night. Woke up, I filmed it. No lie, as I filmed it, I'm watching Steve Harvey on TV talk about, can you believe these guys on social media, all they do is film themselves. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I actually laughed. Next morning, I called my friend. I said, this is what happened. She goes, why don't you film yourself on the phone, put it up on Instagram story? I said, Melissa, no one's going to care. Who cares? Just do it. So I did it. She goes, we'll put it up on Sunday. I said, nobody watches on Sunday. Just do it. So I did. And I got a pretty damn big following. And so I kept doing it every Sunday, like church. I'd go on my phone and talk about my life with mental illness. Then I got the book deal and I started talking about promoting the book at the same time. So I did that for a year, then during the pandemic, and it was in my car. And then somebody said, every time somebody tells me to do something, I always say no. I don't know how you are, Billy, but I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. So somebody said, you should go on YouTube. I don't want to do YouTube. I want Instagram. And Billy, I don't know if you know, but who talks for 8 minutes on Instagram story? You don't do that.
No.
But I did it for like every week. So I don't want to do YouTube. Then I did YouTube. Once I started interviewing people, they didn't want me talking about myself anymore, which is all right. And I've been doing it for now 2 years. And I'm so proud of this show, man. It's become something, and the vibe is always just intimate, personal. And I love it, and it helps people. What else can you want?
I love it. And you got behind you, you have the YouTube plaque there that you got, a nice little plaque. What's that for?
That's once you get 100,000 subscribers, they call it the milestone. They give you that plaque, and then the next plaque is 1 million, and then the next plaque is 10 million. Like the Joe Rogan has 10 million. Yeah. And it's for me, it was a lot of hard work. And believe it or not, this is just a technical thing. It's the soap opera people that get all the subscriptions. I've had people with millions. I had one guy with 7 million followers on Facebook. It doesn't matter. It's amazing. You know anything about that, Billy? Is that because it's my core audience?
Yeah, listen, I just started a YouTube channel where this kind of the video element lives, and I'm trying to get 500 followers. I don't know. Wow. I'm just, starting out. I'm trying to, I figure out how to grow it because, I've had amazing guests like yourself. Academy Award winners, Golden Globe, Emmy Award winners. It's like I got 79 episodes of like gold for anybody, any dreamer. It's just, there's so much great stuff, but I'm not sure quite how to get it out there. This is all new to me.
Yeah, because I've done now a lot of research and I finally got what I wanted, but it's basically, you have to hit, like every movie you've done, that audience and get those people, and then they have to promote. If they don't promote, you're not getting it. So with me, the soap people, they don't even need to promote, and it gets a lot, right? But like I got Frank Grillo was on, movie star Stephen A. Smith. They have to promote on their end, and it's still not that great, but it's better if they promote. That's the way it is.
No, you've had some great guests. I listened to the Grillo interview. It was an awesome interview.
That was cool. Yeah, he was very cool. I'll kick his ass though, but it's all right.
So if you could go back and give yourself some, the little you, some life advice, what would it be?
Start working on not caring what people think. Swear to you, that killed me my whole life. Now that I look back, it really stifles you. And go for what you believe, right? Obviously. If you got to, like when I first started acting, my acting was not good, but there was something in my heart and in my gut that I felt strongly, and I just kept going.
What year did you come out here?
Oh boy, 30 years ago. Oh, no, 32 years ago.
32? What year? What year was it?
I don't know about years.
Yeah, because I came out here December 15th, 1984. I just turned 18. I had $200 in my pocket, and I came out here. And I, I've been out here ever since. I've been. Yeah,
but you broke into movies and stuff, man. That's even harder back then. That was an accomplishment.
Yeah,
I remember I used to go on an audition, and when you were there, I said, "I'm not getting this one."
That's funny. Somebody else told me that too the other day. But I used to love to know that. Like when I in the lobby, I'd see people. I walk into the lobby and they see me and they put their head down and they were like, "Oh,
yeah."
I'm like,
but you were probably relaxed at auditioning.
Yeah, early on. I had some I didn't care about nothing, man. I was like,
yeah.
I didn't give a shit about anything. I had some big balls, and I was like,
But Billy, isn't that not caring what people think?
Yeah, you got it. I was like, my attitude was, "You're welcome."
Exactly.
I just did you a favor. After you see me, you can tell all these other guys to go home because I am the character.
That's right. Mine was the opposite. Mine was, "I'm so scared. I hope you don't see it."
Yeah, I hope you like me.
Yeah.
Please like me.
Yeah.
I hope I don't forget my lines.
Right. Exactly. So
yeah. It's a different, but that's what I teach my actors here at the studio. I tell them all the time. I said, you cannot go into a room with, "Oh, please, I hope you like me." You can't. You got to go in and I'm here. This audition, I'm here to play. I've created a character. I've made some big choices. I got the wardrobe on. I got the fucking accent. I know where I'm coming from. I know where I'm going. I got secrets. I got animal exercise. I'm playing. I've loaded this character up so much. I've made some big, bold, strong choices, and now it's playtime. And it's not even me, the actor, coming into audition. It's me, the character, in the given circumstance. Ground myself in that world and free myself up, because now there's nobody there. They don't even exist.
Right.
The casting people don't exist. It's they're peeking into my world. It's almost like a private moment exercise. I'm there, but I'm not there. I'm not an actor in an audition. I'm a character in a given circumstance.
Yeah.
And I'm playing in that world. And I would love to incorporate them. Let's say I'm playing a scene where I'm being interrogated by, the couple of detectives. I'll know who the director is. I'll know who the producer is. I'll bring them right into the scene, man. I look right. I bring them right in. So they're not on the outside looking in. Now they're characters in the thing, and I'm looking them right in.
Now it's on camera, man.
What?
Now it's on camera.
I know now it's different, but the self-tape, and let's talk about that little thing. It's changed drastically because back in the day we'd have to walk into the room and now there's this whole self-tape thing,
Well, I don't even audition, so I don't care about really working outside of the GH. But my son is a badass actor, man. He started at 13. And
How old is he now?
He's 18. And he came to me at 13 and said, I want to be. I said, no, Joshua, He goes, he's never talked to me about acting. He goes, I want to be an actor. I said, no. So I said, you know what I've been through? Mental institution, this and that. What do you mean you want to be an actor? He goes, just give me a chance. I said, all right, I'm going to teach you as much as I can in a month. See how hard you work and see what happens. So a month comes into my room. I'm on my bed. He says, Dad, can I do a monologue for you? Does the monologue, Billy, I'm not joking. Halfway through, I said, oh, he's the next James Dean. And he ended the monologue. I didn't know what to say. How does a 13-year-old with a month experience do what he just did? Okay, so then he pursued it. Now he's an actor and a musician. He's got producers and stuff. But he did a show called The Rehearsal with Nathan Fielder, which is on HBO. And he was incredible. As a matter of fact, I'd love him to go to your class, bro.
Anytime.
But where's your class, man?
I'm in Manhattan Beach.
Yeah,
I'm a little hike. Where are you?
Studio City, man.
Oh, it's not that bad.
How long is it?
I have actors from Studio City come all the time. It's a 45-minute ride, depending on traffic, what time. Or you find a time he can come here and work privately with me.
Yeah, I'd love him to, man, because, he's had bad. I'm the best teacher he's had, but he's had bad teachers. And you would be great, but I'd like him to get in a class.
No, I get actors from Hollywood all the time. I got a reputation now. Like if you got a big audition for a pilot or something like that, you want to coach with me. Agents are calling me up left and right because they're booking jobs. I put them on tape, I coach them, I shoot them, and they're landing the role. So the name has gotten out. Like, oh yeah, well you better go coach with Billy. And
really,
yeah. So now,
when's your class?
Well, he's 18, so, he may fit into my adult class. My adult class is Monday nights from 7 to 10:30.
Monday from 7. He's an actor, bro. He's like me, but little different. But
well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, man.
I guess, Billy, but I never imagined that. I thought to be great, you had to have been through stuff. But he was 13 and he's 18, hasn't been through anything really, but he has the depth. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah, well, from the school that we grow up in, being method actors, you want to use your stuff, your shit, your pain, you got to have that, your actor toolbox, and play with all those emotions and the childhood and the pain and this and that and that. But, I work with actors all the time that they don't have any of that stuff. They have, their life has been good. They're good. And yeah, I just, we go to the imaginary what if, really load up the imagination, but it's as long as it's tied to something real that they love, their soul, right? Somebody who they love, they let their imagination go there. I can get them anywhere they want because they're using their imagination. The mind doesn't know the difference between a real event or imagined event. If you really truly go there sensorially through all your, senses, that it'll feed you emotionally, it'll fuel you. So when I work with my young actors, that's how I approach the craft with them, because they don't have all that. I'm a method. I want you to use your truth. What do you got? Yeah. Who does this character become because you're playing this character? What part of your soul can you leave behind? Because if you play that game and you leave a piece of your soul behind, casting directors will feel you. Yeah. Because you're not playing it safe. You're not just saying the words on the page. You're leaving a piece of your soul behind, and they feel you. And that's when they become a fan of your work. And then you get a couple of casting directors that become a fan of your work. Then they keep bringing you back in. And then it's just a numbers game before you land that role, because you're playing the big game. You know, it's all about relationships. You know, you get a few casting directors that really think you're a talented actor and keep bringing you in, you're going to work.
No, I agree with him. You know what? Maybe I can do that for him, like once a week. Take him out there. And
yeah, you let me know. I'd love for you to come down to the studio, man. It'd be great. You'd love it here.
All right,
You know, it's a full functioning studio. You know, I mean, I build sets, I build demo reels, you know, and whatever an actor needs, you know, I want to be able to supply it for them. So, you know, I got a photo studio, I got rollaway walls, I built sets, lights, cameras, the whole thing. You know, you can shoot a movie in here. You know,
amazing.
Yeah.
I could probably do it. All right, I'm into it.
All right, cool. What's next? You got anything in the works?
No, you know, I'm so busy with State of Mind, and then I may be doing a tequila thing, a sponsored tequila thing, appearances in New York, like 15 of them coming up, Canada and stuff. Whatever, you know, it's always just busy, but it's good. It's all good.
I got a question for you. You've worked with so many talented actors, right? Who are some of your favorite actors you've worked with?
Well, I worked with Mickey Rourke because in Nightmare Cinema, and I looked up to him when I was young.
Of course, Pope of Greenwich Village.
Yeah, all that. He was phenomenal, and I was a bit intimidated. But before I worked with him, he didn't want to rehearse with me for whatever reason, and and finally gets on the set. He's a big dude, you know? And so I said, and I played a priest. So I said in my head, when he looks in my eyes, he'll see the truth. And that's all I can, you know, as nervous as I was, that's what I had. So we did the scene, and at first he didn't talk to me at all. Then when the scene ended, he was very nice to me, very nice to me. So that was that. He's a method actor too. So.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's you know, when you work with method actors, you don't know what you're going to get. You know, I mean, I tell you a funny story is I ran into I was in a pizzeria in Studio City, and I ran into Danny Trejo. And Danny was you know, at the pizzeria. So I walked over there and I introduced myself to him, and I said, "Hey man, I'm a fan of your work. You know, I'm an actor too." I said, "You know, one of these days we're going to work together." And he looked at me like, "Yeah, okay, sure, right." So 6 months later, I walk into a table reading, and I'm opposite. I'm starring in a film opposite Danny Trejo, and I look at him. I go, "Remember me?" And he looks, and I go, "6 months ago, I told you we're going to be working together."
Wow.
And then that's the last thing I ever said to him, because my character hated him in this movie. I play an LAPD officer, gang unit, and he was responsible for my mother dying. So I just did not say a word to him the whole time. I mad dogged him every time I got a chance. You know, those because I'm not going to be eating, you know, donuts with you at craft services. I'm going to stay in character. My character don't like you. I'm not going to be all chummy with you. And then afterwards, you know, at the rap party, you know, we can be friends again. But during the movie, I don't want to know you.
Was he cool at the rap party?
Yeah, he was cool. He was like, "Who is this guy?" You know. Now I'm trying to be like, you know, but I'm not the character anymore.
Right.
Have you ever gotten lost in a character?
Well, we produced a movie called Ghost in the Whale, and again, my character's bipolar. And that was I was hearing voices in the middle of the night. That was kind of not good. And then I'm supposed to do this monologue, 7 or 8 pages, where he's having a manic episode. And I finished the monologue, and I thought, I'm Al Pacino, man. I'm Al Pacino. The directors come out and said, I said, "What?" I said, "I finished the 8 pages or whatever, 7 pages. Let me. You need to talk to your wife, because she was a producer." So my wife sits down with me and says, "I said, baby, I can't do better than that." She goes, "Honey, it wasn't good." I said, "Well, what do you mean it wasn't good?" She goes, it just wasn't, you didn't believe you were manic. It was kind of not enough. I said, well, okay, it's not enough, but here's the deal, baby. How do you know that because I give you more that I'm not going to be able to cross back over to reality? So you want me to go further? She goes, you won't do that. I said, how do you know? And she said, because you're stronger than you know.
Mm.
So I did the monologue. Big. Hey, fucking God. And I saw both the next day in dailies, and they were absolutely right. The first one I did was boring. So, you know, but I was lost in that guy for sure.
Oh.
And I get lost in Sonny, but like I'm nominated right now for another thing. And then it was a bipolar storyline that they did a real great job on the soap writing it. And I was in it, man. I mean, I wasn't going to lose my stuff, but I was in it.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I gotta tell you, man, I think you're a wonderful actor. I love watching you. I've been, I peeked in on the show. I mean, I don't like to watch myself, but I peeked in and I watch you. I fast forward to your stuff, you know?
I thought you were really good. I got to be honest. Yeah. And you didn't even have more than a couple lines. And you just, and I'm not joking just because I'm on the show. It doesn't matter to me. You were just like present in your eyes. There's a lot going on in your eyes, and that's a lot for a soap opera.
I like, once again, I give those actors so much props. I mean, they're so talented. I mean, they can turn it on. I was working with the actress that plays Finola, that played Anna.
Yeah.
Man, we're like between takes, we're talking a little bit, and then boom, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, the tears are in her eyes, are rolling down her face. I'm like, holy shit, how did she do that?
No, yeah.
I mean, these actresses have some serious acting chops. They got like a button, like they can hit and freaking emotions come rolling, man.
Yeah, I don't do that, Billy. I'm not like that. I had, my shit has to come from. It's just got to be truthful. I can't turn it on. I can't. That I can't do.
Well, I saw a couple episodes where they were recently, and you had the tears coming down. I know, and I know that set is, it's like 5, 4, 3, 2. Go ahead, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's not easy unless they're coming around with mental blowers and blowing in actors' eyes or something like that I don't know about. But, even when I was doing General Hospital back in the day, I mean, I worked with the actress that played Carly. Was it Tamara? Was it Tamara?
Yeah, Tamara.
Yeah, Tamara. I mean, she blowed me away too. Like I could see her, like, boom, all of a sudden she's talking, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, tears are rolling down the face, and I'm like,
she had a lot of vulnerability.
And that's what's amazing. I mean, to be able to be vulnerable. I tell my actors all the time, your vulnerability is your strength, man.
Yeah.
To be able to expose your truth, to be, acting's like being naked, man. You got to be able to just expose your soul and go, this is me, this is my shit. Hand it over to a character and expose it through a character. But that's why I think, your work is so great, is that you're exposing your truth through a character, and anybody watching it can feel it because you're not acting.
No.
You're being truthful.
Right.
And I think that's what
I've tried to do my whole career, but it's even more. I think that's what Marlon Brando did. He didn't do anything that he didn't feel. And that's what made him who he is. And I don't care. Like I was talking about this with somebody else. There was a movie called The Fugitive Kind.
Mm-hmm.
And they hated each other, Anna Magnani and him. You could tell in the movie. And he had a monologue where he was supposed to, do it to her. He never looked at her. And it was like, he don't care. I couldn't do that before. That was the difference between me now. Now I don't do anything. It's not in my gut authentic. I just won't do it. That's what I've learned over the years. What do you think about that, Billy?
Well, I've noticed your style. Like, I kind of analyze your style, like what you're doing, because, you do a lot of like real behavior. Like, a lot of actors are stiff, but you like, you'll touch your face, or there's some like real like behavior. Like, most actors when they're in front of the camera, I'm not going to touch my face. I'm going to stand there and eyeball the other actor, stare at them. But you have a lot of really natural behavior, which I think is really
look down a lot, man.
Yeah, but I think that's great. That's some real shit. Like, people don't eyeball each other, like stare at each other. It's a challenge. Working on a show is a challenge for me too, because I was working with an actor, the actor that plays Victor, and he's playing the villain. He's doing So for me coming on, like, I'll hand him a gun, and all of a sudden he'll look at the gun and he'll like, like, oh, ho, 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 and he put the gun away. And I mean, it was just it was like, to me, it was like, it was fake, some of this, like, who does that, right? But I had to like really kind of bite my cheek, because I'm not. So there's a style, it's a style of acting, which is different from kind of, where I kind of, I've been, I did sitcoms, I did, 1 hour, dramas, I did feature, movies and stuff like that. But there's a very specific style to working on a daytime show. And, you've mastered it, man. I mean, you got this, just such a natural thing that you do that I love watching it.
Yeah, but Billy, I had to fight for that style, because they were trying to get me to talk louder and stuff, and I would fight them tooth and nail. I'm not doing it. And because of that, I'm able to do this kind of stuff. And I'm one of the only actors, maybe there's a few other ones, that they just leave alone. Because with me, if you come to me with a direction, you better know what you're talking about. And I'll do anything, Billy. I'll do anything. But if it's stupid, if it's a stupid direction, I'm going to have to tell you. That's not, why? Why would I, what? So, but I've had to fight hard to be able to talk like this, hey, Billy. Because you can't do that on the, when I came on, they hated that, man. They couldn't hear me. More voice.
The voice.
I'm not doing it. I tell them, mic me. I'm not doing it. So we can sit here and talk for the next half hour that you want me to talk louder, and I'm telling you to mic me. I'm not doing it. That's what happens at times. I'm not joking.
But it's changed drastically now. I don't see anybody having those conversations. It's like, but there's no time for it.
Nobody's having those conversations.
Yeah. Well, one take. We're good. Moving on.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait a second. I don't get a second take. I mean, I think I shot everything on one take. The whole run of the show, I got one take.
Yeah, it's crazy.
One take.
It's absolutely crazy.
I have fight scenes. I was like, whoa, somebody can get hurt here. We got to choreograph this thing,
Yeah.
But we literally, I mean, I pull the actor on the side. I've done a lot of fight stuff in my career and really kind of work with the actor. But literally when we got in front, it was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we did it. And it was literally one take. Which, mind blowing, because, and it was an elaborate fight scene too.
Yeah, I punched somebody once. And it was horrible. Right in the fucking jaw. Terrible. And he looked at me and goes, "You hit me." I said, "I'm so sorry." So sorry.
Looking back at your career, you know, what are you most proud of?
I would say state of mind,
Well done.
because I'm not a who's going to tell me I'm an interview guy and can create a show that's going to help people and talk about mental. I mean, that's acting. I kind of honestly, I wanted your career. That was my goal in life. I wanted to be the Al Pacino of movies. And I guess I've done that in soaps, but I wanted to do it in movies. That didn't happen for me. That dream now has ended, obviously, which is fine. I'm cool with it. But I knew that I could do this acting thing. I didn't know that I could do this other thing.
Do you feel like getting put on a soap for that long has hindered your career or typecast you?
Yeah, look, you know, if you want a career in movies, you got to just pursue that. You stay on a soap as long as I am, being as popular as I am, it's going to hurt you. Now, I have done enough jobs now in the last 6 years that I know that the grass ain't greener. And I'm a lot older, so I'm cool I'd rather not do movies and stuff like that, because it just says to me pressure, stress, because I'm on a new set and I'm working with another guy that I don't know. I'm happy now. You know, daytime or general hospital is the best job in the world as a job. Not saying it's the most creative or artistic, but as a job, there's no better job. I get to work. I'm out in about 6 hours. I go home. Tomorrow I work late. You know, it's a great job.
You know, I'll tell you a funny story. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Yeah, but you know, I was, you know, when I got cast on the show, you know, I got the school here, so it was like I got to cancel my school. You know, I'm private sessions all day. I teach class. So I literally had to cancel to go do General Hospital, to drive all the way to Hollywood, right? And then, you know, when I auditioned for it, I auditioned for a meaty monologue, you know, 3-page scene, right? And I was talking about the docs and stuff like that. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh man, I'm going to get to work with, you know, Maurice. I'm going to sign this, you know, there's some, you know, so that's where my mind was going with this thing, you know?
Yeah.
So when I, you know, I put myself on tape, I auditioned, I sent it over, and you know, that's what it was, a meaty thing, but I never saw that. I never got to shoot that when I got on the show. All of a sudden I was like the, you know, Victor's henchman in the background, standing around like a glorified extra a bunch of times. So I was like, literally, I was like, what am I doing here? You know, like,
Yeah.
I'm not having fun. It's like, it's stressful. You know, it was like, what am I doing here? But then I, you know, you know, there was a couple of days where I had, you know, they wrote me, you know, I had some scenes, you know, I had some dialogue or whatever. And then I started having fun, you know? So, you know, it took a little while, but I started playing again and started having fun. After a couple of weeks went by, I started feeling more comfortable with the other actors and, you know, the process of, you know, creating the show and knowing what it is. You just have to be super prepared. You know, you cannot come on a show like that not prepared. If you don't know your lines, you know, the more prepared the more fun you're going to have, the more you're going to be able to play and free yourself up. If you're in your head going, what's my next line? You're dead, you know? Yeah. If you're in your heart, you're smart. When you're in play and having fun and you made some choices and you're playing, you know, that's where you want to be. But so working on the show, I realized that, you know, and this is probably a spoiler, but I got a script, and my script said that I get shot and I die. And I was like, hooray. I was happy. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm done with this shit. Right? that was my first instincts, you know? But then there was another part of me that was sad, you know, that got sad because like,
Yeah.
man, I'm dead. You know, so I was like, kind of like, there was like, I was battling like both things. And then I got a rewrite the next day. And my character didn't die. They brought on some other character and they shot him instead. And my character lives. And I thought that was kind of strange. I was like, why would they do that?
That's a trip. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they wrote it where my character gets my ass whooped. um, but I don't know, so I was like, I was sad, that I was off the show, and then I was happy that I was back on it. And I was like, I don't know what I was feeling, but there was a moment, a real surreal moment where I'm laying on the floor after I got my ass kicked, and I'm laying on, and I'm looking at up all those lights, right? And then there's all this commotion, but I'm playing dead, laying knocked out.
Yeah.
And I stopped, and it was a surreal moment because I really realized where I was. I was like, Billy, the little Billy, this is the dream. This is what you dreamed of. And here you are on a set in Hollywood with all these lights and the cameras and all this stuff and stuntman and all this stuff going on, that this is the dream. So in that moment, it kind of filled me up, like, dream fulfilled, mission accomplished,
Yeah.
and
You have to figure out what's gonna get you to that next moving forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's all here, bro.
It is. And that's why I love what you're doing with your podcast. So,
Thanks.
if anybody wants to find your podcast, where they can find it, your YouTube channel is called?
Yeah. MB, Maurice Benard, State of Mind, YouTube.
Awesome. And your podcast is it only audio, video, or is it audio?
It was podcast. It was video. It's all video, but it was, podcast, but we're going to get back to it.
Cool, man. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, bro.
My only thing is I'm bummed out that me and you never got to play, I mean, I
know.
I've been on the show 20 years ago, and you were in a coffin. That was the biggest scene. And, when I coming on the show, I was like, I get to play with them. And I haven't gotten a chance to play, but mark my words, we're going to play. We're going to get a chance. I'm putting it out to the universe right now.
Me and Danny Trejo.
It's so good to have you on the show, bro. Thank you for taking the time, man.
And I'm gonna talk to my son, and we'll see what goes on there.
Yes, anytime, man. You guys should come down to the studio, and I'll help them however I can.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
It's my pleasure. All right, brother. Stay safe.
All right. Thank you.